We are rocking and rolling. If only could live up to this great technological work being done by others. All right, 11 o'clock. I'm going to launch into that. All right, so a couple things. One, today will be just a little bit different than yesterday. I certainly get Cuckoo's motivations for doing the whole ceremony, but I'm not going to do that because I think the chanting part we know how to chant. But the nuts and bolts of Oryoki, I think, are what I want to focus on. So I'm going to cut some of the chanting out while we go through this today. And so I've spent the last couple of years studying Oryoki and doing Oryoki, and my actual process has evolved over time. Jundo has kind of gave me the direction that we should try to go with the Japanese priest version as much as possible. And that's what I've done. One of the things you'll notice, though, is that makes it somewhat different than the material that Coco presented yesterday. Like, we're going to put things down on different sides, but it's not going to be totally different, but it will be some. I wanted to mention that there's a PDF out there called Oryoki, and it's worth digging up because if you have this PDF, which describes what they do at San Francisco Zen Center, it'll take you to like 93, 95% of what is done pretty much anytime you would walk into a monastery or a Zendo where they're doing Oryoki. There'll be little variations. If you actually go back and look at Dogen's original instructions, like one of the things he'll say is, lay down your utensil case, but he doesn't say should it be pointing to the left or to the right, and people have kind of evolved. So there's some little things that change, but for the most part, a lot of the stuff is in here. And this is an interesting document because when Samu Suzuki came to the US, they were doing Oryoki just for the priests, and he decided that he wanted to make this available to students as well. So they took the morning session and the afternoon session, which is how it's usually done in a monastery, combined them, and they dropped them some things. Like there's no atan in here, there's no waterboard in here if you get the whole PDF. But they were trying to make it accessible to other people other than priests. And a lot of people still follow this in the West. It's probably the prototype for pretty much what most people do. San Francisco Zen Center uses this. Austin Zen Center uses this. Lots and lots of places. So it's, if you're looking for a resource, this is a pretty good one. If you search for Oryoki PDF, you almost can't help but find it. It is an upaya if you just want to go someplace in particular. But I would recommend this if you want to have a reference for like when you leave here, because I think doing Oryoki is a very, very rewarding and meaningful exercise and practice. The one thing about that PDF, what work they did at San Francisco Zen Center, is that they still were serving people. And one of the challenges for us is that we don't have servers. We're individuals by ourselves. We're just where we are. And so that's one of the things that I've been kind of working on. And I'm going to kind of focus on how would you do this if you were going to do it at home. I'm going to spend less time talking about whether you raise two fingers or one finger when the server is coming, because I've been doing this for a little bit, and I've never actually gotten to do it with other people. So that's going to be kind of my focus today. We will do some of the chanting. There's still plenty of chanting if you like that part. So if there are not any questions, I'll go ahead and get started. So I'll just take a quick moment to see if you guys have questions. Anybody? Healer? Sorry. Okay. So one thing that I guarantee is that I will make a mistake somewhere along in this process, because that's how I work. And the reason I mention that is because it's okay to have the utensil case pointed the wrong way or do things in sort of a slightly different manner. One of the things that really struck me as I watched the Zen priest in the Zendo, the video. And if you actually watch it really, really, really closely, some of the guys set down their utensil case one direction and a few of them set it down the other way. So even the priests kind of do it a little differently sometimes. So it's all okay. We're just trying to learn how to do it and what the process is, and that's what we're going to do. So start out gasho and a little bow, and we're going to retrieve our bowls. So if your bowls are already in front of you, that's great. If not, you bring it up to eye height, set it down in front of you. There's a big ear and a little ear. The little ear and the big ear should both kind of be pointing to the right. And we gasho to the bowls, of course. There's a lot of gashoing in this. And then we start with original sound must be on. All right, there we go. Buddha was born in Kapilavastu, enlightened in Magadha, taught in Varanasi, entered nirvana at Kushnagara. Now we set out our bowls. May we, with all living beings, realize the emptiness of self-clinging and of the three wheels, giver, receiver, and gift. Gasho to the bowls as we get started. All right, so left hand kind of serves as like a little tripod. It'll hold it down. We're going to take the little ear and we're going to pull that, and the knot should just kind of fall apart. And we're going to take those two pieces and pull them out to either side. Right. Now we're going to take the washcloth and we're going to pick it up and we're going to fold it in half so the two halves come together, which I'm trying to do here. Like so, like so. And then we fold it into thirds towards us. Thirds. And there's two ways you can do this. Either take your left hand and lay it on top, or you can do the very popular flip. Either way is okay. But what you want to have is the two little corners up here in the left-hand side. That's the thing that's kind of important. Okay, so we're going to take our utensil case and our washcloth, and we're going to rotate it so that the tail end is pointing to the right. And we're going to lay it down right in front of us. We're going to lay it down right in front of us. All right. Then we're going to take our lap cloth. There should be, your two corners should be on top. We're going to take that up and we're going to lay it in our lap. Your guys should probably be about here. I'm kind of short on space with my table, so I'm going to kind of set it aside just for the moment. We'll bring it right back. All right, next we take the top point and lay it down, and we take the bottom point and we lay it down so that we have kind of a diamond shape. And then we're going to bring that together. So you kind of take a little bit of the material and you fold it over and it leaves a little point. We do that for the top. We do that for the bottom. We do that for the right side. And we do that for the left side. Now we're going to, I don't have a hatan. I'm not going to use a hatan. If you have a hatan, that would be the time to take it. You pick it up, take it by the upper and lower corners, you pop it out, pick up the bowls with your left hand, lay the hatan down, and you're good to go. If you don't have a hatan, just pick up your bowls and put them in the upper left-hand corner. So they end up there either way, whether you have a hatan or not. Just like we did yesterday, thumbs, small bowl is brought over to the far right. Middle bowl is brought into the center. Such. So now we have our bowls all laid out. Okay. Next, I can bring this back. Next, we reach down, take our drying cloth with our right hand, reach underneath, and get the utensil case with our left hand. Then put the washcloth back, the drying cloth, washcloth back. Now, we rotate this so that the end is facing towards us. We place it on our chest, and we open it up with the setsu in there, and we slowly work the setsu down and everything out so that everything comes to the front, such. And then we have a little tail that's hanging down here, and we're going to fold that up, and it makes a little Z. Okay? All right. Stay down there. All right. Now we're going to take the chopsticks, thumb on top, 2 fingers underneath. We'll bring it out, and we're going to lay it down. We're going to lay it down on the left, with the handles on the left and the points facing into the right. Okay? Do the same thing with the spoon. We're going to take it out, thumb on top, lay it down so the handle is to the left, the bowl is in the center. And then we're going to take the setsu, but this time 2 fingers on top, and we're going to kind of rotate it around and put it between the middle bowl and the small bowl, and it's going to sit there for a while. Now we take our container here, and we're going to lay it down and put the washcloth back on top. That's going to sit like that. All right. So next is the verse of the Buddha names, because there's a lot of names and we all know the names of the Buddha, so we're good. So we'll just I'm just going to kind of jump ahead, and we're going to do the serving of the food. And you know, as Koku explained very well yesterday, servers come around, they bring the food, they're served in pairs. There's little gestures that you make about, you know, when you're done, 2 fingers up is done, pinch if you want a little bit more, all those kinds of things, but we don't have that. So we're going to take our food and we'll fill our bowls. And we start with the Buddha bowl, the second bowl, and the third bowl. So we're going to go ahead and put our food into our bowls. So dish up. I told you I messed up. I took my actual bowl. I have a whole other serving spoon around here someplace. So my bad. I told you I'd screw something up. All right. I should not have done that, but it's okay. Done that. All right, so more chanting. This food of many benefits comes from the efforts of all sentient beings, past and present, and is medicine for nourishment of our practice. We offer this meal of many virtues and tastes to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and to all life in every realm of existence. May all sentient beings in the universe be sufficiently nourished. Hands in Gasho. Then hands in Sashu, underneath your Rakusu if you're wearing one. First, we reflect on the labors that brought us this food and consider how it comes to us. Little bow. Hands in Zazen Mudra. Second, we receive this offering. We should consider whether our virtue and prudence deserve it. Third, we regard greed as an obstacle to the freedom of mind. Fourth, we regard this meal as medicine to sustain our life. Fifth, to attain the way, we now receive this food. And now we do the Hungry Ghost offering. As Koku mentioned, that is often the end of the setsu, and someone comes around to don't have that. So they say take like 4 to 7 grains of rice or whatever your food is, and it goes into your Hungry Ghost offering bowl. And set that aside. And everybody puts their hands in gasho, and for all creatures who hunger and to nourish this world, now we present you this offering. This food is for all of you in the 10 directions. And then when you're done, you take the Hungry Ghost offering and you can take it outside. You do the same thing with the water. So the water that you use for cleaning, that will go outside and water a plant or water your grass or whatever. The Hungry Ghost offering, given for animals or whatever. I figured out that I was doing this, and she would follow me out, eat the little pieces of rice that I would leave. So I just give it to her now because she's just going to go take it anyway. So anyway, now we're going to do the bowl raising verse. So hands in gasho, we're going to bow. First, this is for the 3 treasures. And we're going to take our spoon and we're going to place it in the Buddha bowl with the food there. Second, it is for our teachers, parents, planet, and all sentient beings. You take your chopsticks. Oftentimes they'll do sort of a crossover move. And we lay them down and 4. So they have the diagonal. Third, it is for every being in all realms of existence. Bow. Thus we eat this food with everyone. We eat to end all suffering, to practice the harmless and beneficial, to save all sentient beings, and to accomplish the Buddha way. The first portion is to end all evil. We're going to bow there. This is a little different than we've done before. We're going to pick up the Buddha ball now, and we're going to bring it up to eye level. The second is to cultivate every good. The third is to free all beings. May everyone realize the Buddha way. We're going to bow, kind of slightly raise the bowl as you bow. And the idea is now that everyone takes a first bite of the food together. All right, so we'll all take a first bite together. And then we place the bowl back down. And that's sort of the opening part of the practice. So at this point now, we're just going to go ahead and eat. There's the rule that the Buddha bowl should never touch your lips, so just kind of keep that in mind. When you are using your chopsticks, if you eat for a bit and then set your chopsticks down, they go on the right-hand side, the handle's on the right, the left. And then when you're done with all the food, you put the chopsticks back into their original position. You don't want to eat too fast, you don't want to eat too slow. I like to kind of think about all the interconnectedness that brought all of this food together, from the plant growing in the field, to the sun, to the water, to the farmer, to the people who brought it to us, to the people who sold it to us. Just kind of in the back of my head while I'm doing this process. So at this part, we're going to go ahead and eat. And then when we're done, we'll pick up the next part. So that's There is no rule that you need to eat one bowl completely and then the next bowl completely. You can move back and forth as you're eating. That's perfectly fine. should have mentioned the spoon always stays in the Buddha bowl, and you can eat in any order, but it is considered important that you eat all of the food. So we don't want to have anything left when we're done. So you should try never to take more than you're going to be able to eat. My table's a little short here. The utensil bag and the washcloth should go on the other side of the wrapping cloth at the base of your um, zafu. So it would be sort of right here, but I don't have room and don't have a place right here, so I'm kind of leaving it up here just so you can see it. When you're done, you sit with your hands in Zazen Mudra. And just wait for everyone to be done. Geshen Claire Greenwood has a sort of interesting book, Just Enough. She was a woman who went to be a nun in a nunnery in Japan, a Zen Buddhist nunnery. And the book is about vegan recipes and stories from Japan's Buddhist temples. But she talks about Oryoki in here quite a bit. And one of the things that she says is that eating this way makes it very different than how Westerners tend to eat. We have one big plate of food and you're like kind of shoveling it all in your face. Here you have to separate your food items separately. You eat them separately. You have to take a moment and a pause. And there's actually some scientific evidence that you actually feel more satisfied with a smaller amount of food when you eat it in this way. She has another book called Bow First, Ask Questions Later, which is more specifically about her experiences in the temple. Though this book has quite a few of those kinds of stories as well. But one of the things she caught her off guard is that in Japan they would just do things like, well, start sewing your rakusu. She's like, well, what's my rakusu? Why am I sewing it? Oh, we'll get to that later. So there's this sort of emphasis on there's a doing before you understand. Whereas in the West we love to understand and then do, but so a lot of her experiences, she would just be sent to a sewing room and start sewing and had no idea why she was doing it. And then eventually they get around to explaining that they're going to do jukai. So it's a great book. I recommend it highly. I can't really see everybody, so I'm just going to ask, is everybody done, or do we still have some folks that are still eating? Just let us know, it's fine. All done then? All right. So we're going to start cleaning up now. So a little gosh to our bowls, we'll start cleaning. The first thing that we clean are the chopsticks. So we take those. Just like yesterday, we're going to mouth clean them. We're going to cover our mouth as we're cleaning them in our mouth. And we clean them. And they get laid down on the right side this time with the points going in. I will mention at this point that in a monastery at this point, if you've just cleaned the chopsticks, if it was the second meal of the day, typically tea would be served. And so tea would be distributed all across, the tea would be distributed into your Buddha bowl. They would kind of stir it to cool it off, but you're not allowed to put your lips on the Buddha bowl, so then it's poured into the middle bowl. Buddha bowl set back down. They'll have a little bit of the tea out of their middle bowl. They'll often pour it into the small bowl. And then drink a little bit of the tea out of there, and then they completely consume the tea. There's no like picking up the tea afterwards. So it's an extra little step that I'll actually do sometimes, because you can do that even though you're just by yourself. So that's just another little aside, I guess. But anyway, we've done the chopsticks. We're going to take our setsu. We're going to bring it over, and we can kind of do a two-handed move, one-handed move here, where we drop the setsu and pick up our spoon. We're going to take our spoon, mouth clean it as well. We lay it down, handle pointing to the right, and the bowl down. All right. Now we're going to dry clean our bowls, starting with the Buddha bowl. So we'll take our setsu, or in my case, I have a little spatula that I just like better. And if there's any food, we just eat that little bit of food. Same thing here. Getting it as clean as possible. And the small bowl. Setsu goes back in the large bowl. And once again, we would just kind of wait for everybody to be done. Hands in Zazen Mudra. Right. So now we'll actually wash the bowls. And as Koku mentioned yesterday, there would be people that come around, and there'd be you take your setsu to say when you're done with the water, that sort of thing. But we're just going to put the water in ourselves because we're just by ourselves. So we add a little bit of water to the Buddha bowl. Doesn't need to be a lot. We're going to pick up the Buddha bowl, give a little bow. And traditionally, it's brought to your left thigh, but you can just do it on the table if you prefer. But sort of in the Zen videos, the monastery, they'll bring it to their left thigh and clean it. So just kind of clean, 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 clean. I'm back. Can you hear me? My my video dropped for some reason. So if you really want people that really ritualize this, there's some videos at San Francisco Zen Center that are, really like you have to hold the cloth in a certain way, and so, but they're quite entertaining and quite good. Anyway, they say do it 3.5 times around. Okay, well, so take your cloth and you kind of wad it into your bowl, leaving a little corner sticking out. I stole that from the Austin Zen Center. I just kind of liked it. Okay, so we're done with the Buddha bowl. All right, Next, we're going to wash our utensils. We take our spoon, and Mr. Spoon gets washed. Setsu goes back into its original position. We take our spoon, we kind of point it up at our drying cloth. We dry the bowl and we rotate it 180 degrees and then bring it towards us. And it goes into our utensil case, bowl side down. If you watch the priests in Japan, they just wad up their drying cloth and put it in their bowl, which is, I guess, probably more correct, but I like the little crunchy thing. All right, next we take our chopsticks. We're going to wash our chopsticks just like we did our spoon. Them all nice and clean. Same thing as before. We kind of come into it from the front side, dry the tips, rotate it 180 degrees, push it back towards ourselves. It goes into the utensil case. Okay. At this point, we're going to pick up the utensil case and we're going to work the chopsticks and the spoon down to the bottom. Now, don't just let them drop. Slowly work them down so they're at the base. Put the flap over and the utensil case goes down with the closed end to the left. All right. Next, we're going to clean the middle bowl, just as we did before. Clean it. Hold our setsu as before. We're going to move the small bowl to the center, and we're going to pour our water from our medium bowl into our small bowl. We're going to put our setsu in the small bowl. Now, some instructions say if you have a little water left, you can drink it out of this bowl, but it's kind of not the official drinking bowl that we'll talk about in a minute. So you can drink from this bowl if you want to. It's not a requirement. It's a step that you may or may not want to do. So once we have this, we're going to take our drying cloth just like we did before, put it in, dry the bowl, lay it across, or just place it in however you want. But what you want is that little ear sticking out one way or the other. Tripod into the bowl. All right. We're going to clean the small bowl now, just like we did before. Once it's done, we clean off the setsu, cleaning setsu, and we go ahead and dry it just like we did before. Push it around, bring it out. This time grab it with the left hand, and it goes into your utensil case, going in from the left, and with the tip out so that it can dry. And now we would just wait a little bit and do our next verse. So, everybody hands in gasho. The water with which we wash our bowls tastes like ambrosia. We offer it to all who thirst that they may be satisfied, and may the fires of greed and our excess desires be quenched. Okay. A couple of schools of thought here. Austin Zen Center takes a little sip of the water now. Most people don't do that. The Zen priests don't do that. What they do is that, people come around to collect the water. We don't have someone to do that. So we're going to take our water and we're going to pour it back into our receptacle. And we pour it in. And it's at this point that we take and drink if there's any water left. We set it down. And everybody always drinks, except for Treeleaf historically, everybody drinks out of the last bowl. All right, so now we're going to dry the small bowl. Once again, bring our cloth over, dry the small bowl. We're going to it up, our cloth up just like we have in the past, but we're going to keep it in our right hand and we're going to put our small bowl down. Okay? Now, if you have a hatan, now would be the time to kind of clean it off with the drying cloth that's in your hand. And then you would pick it up and refold it. And the bowls go back into the center. The hatan would go on top of the bowls at this point. I'm going to move my utensils because they need to be moved. All right, so we'll pull out our points. Get ready to go. We are going to get our lap cloth. We grab it in the center. We run our thumb down the center line and pick up our lap cloth so that it folds in half. Folds in half. Then we're going to fold it into our very popular kind of Z pattern that we've been doing, or whatever you want to refer to it as. Now, there's a couple things. We can do it like Coco did yesterday, which is flip it and oops, not quite ready to do that yet. Sorry, I told you I do stuff wrong, and I did. All right, so we got to fold up a wrapping cloth. So bottom goes up first, top comes down. You can leave little triangles on top if you have small bowls like I do. Then you get your lap cloth, and you can do like Coco did yesterday, which is just do a little flip over. They say that in the U.S. the lap cloths, or in the West, lap cloths are bigger because we have bigger laps. So it's also very common to fold it in half and then, do the little flip, however you want to do it. So you can either fold it in half or leave it open. Both are considered to be okay. All right. Then we're going to take our utensil case. We're going to lay it down in the center with the setsu facing us. Still have our little drying cloth in our hand. Okay. Last little bit, we take our drying cloth, we let it air out a little, and we kind of give it a little tag. Don't pop it, it's a little tug. Right hand goes to left, get the corner, drop the old corner, give it a little pull. Right hand goes to left, go to the new corner with the left hand, drop, give it a little pull, one more time. Left hand, give it a drop, give it a little pull. And then just as Coco did yesterday, we fold it in half and we lay it so that the fold is right at the middle line, and then we unfold it down. Okay? All right. Left hand goes in the middle. We bring up the left corner. It goes under our thumb and between our fourth finger and little finger. Note that it kind of angles up. Don't angle it. This will get you in trouble. So angle it up. Take the right one through the first and second fingers as such. So we have kind of like two little ears here. And then we're going to hold on to the top ear and use our two fingers to pull the other side down and kind of pull it together. Yeah. We take the bottom ear and we put it straight up in the air, hold it with two fingers and our thumb. We bring the top ear around the left-hand side and then through into our waiting fingers. We kind of use them to pull it through, at the same time pulling down, so that we're left with a large ear and a small ear, and they both should be to the right. And we finish up with, abiding in the ephemeral world, may we exist in muddy water with purity like a lotus. Nothing escapes the boundless mind. Thus we bow to the Buddha. Bow. We lift our bowls up to eye height. We set them down, typically to the left. One last gasho. And that's it. That's Oryoki. And see, I still went long. Any questions or references that you would like? There's a lot of great videos out there. There's two by the Japanese priest. There's a quick one by Austin Zen Center that Jundo's once recommended. I like the videos at San Francisco Zen Center. They're very, very, very specific, but very well done. So those are things that I can think of to offer you guys.
In Chi?
Yep.
Perhaps you could do a thread at Treeleaf and just leave all the resources for everyone to have a look at.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll do that as soon as we can get back in. Anything else? Alrighty then, go. Frolic. Our next session's in like 20 minutes, I think, but I don't have the paperwork in front of me, so check your documentation and see where you're supposed to be next. All right, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure getting to do this with you guys. I really, really appreciate it.